Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. To my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing President Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States, and his wife, Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States, also known as FLOTUS and POTUS. But anyway, in this specific video, I was asking my guys, before I even landed to make this video, I was asking, what kind of topics am I supposed to cover for today? And I'm scrolling through Facebook, looking through YouTube, just for some form of inspiration, and all of a sudden Melania Trump comes up out of the blue. Strange, right? I haven't covered Melania for quite a while. And and all of a sudden I start seeing this Halloween video from 2025, and this was posted by somebody, and they were saying how they were using a double-headed eagle as the American seal. Although the American seal does not have a double-headed eagle, it only has a one-headed eagle. It goes back to the Holy Roman Empire. After investigating and checking out that the video itself was not genuine or not verifiable, because when I looked it up and cross-referenced it with the actual First Lady's American seal with Melania Trump, it has been only one head. But interestingly enough, as I looked it up, there were also pictures of her looking like a lamp. If you guys remember that photo of her dressing up as Black Panther or something along those lines, she's probably known for dressing like that. But there was something about the outfits that was drawing me in. There was something about the outfits that were telling me there's more than what meets the eye. My spirit guides are telling me to explore that. And then we're also going to be talking about the American seal with the double-headed eagle behind Donald Trump. Now, Melania Trump did not post the double-headed eagle, but Donald Trump did. And normally when the Holy Roman Empire had the double-headed eagle, it symbolizes, at least back then, that God has given the person or the leader the ability to rule and as the nation. So it's basically we're erasing the separation between church and state. In this video, we're going to talk about Melania Trump's outfit, what its significance, what its internal meaning is, and then we're also going to talk about Donald Trump and the American seal double-headed eagle. And I'm going to show you a picture of that so you guys can actually see that this is an actual photo. I believe if this is correct, it was in 2019. But it doesn't matter when it happened. What matters is it happened. So you can see that here, Donald Trump, and you can see here on the American seal, there's two heads. That's not the American seal. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's start reading. Because I'm curious, I'm sure you're curious. Let's go ahead, let's figure this thing out. Oh, I forgot my intro part. Anyway, this video is being recorded on Wednesday, November the 12th at 1:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This video is just for entertainment and for educational purposes only as well. And if you want to help out the channel, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, and sharing this video with others. Really helps boost the algorithm here on this YouTube channel. And for those who have done just that, I just want to acknowledge the community spotlight. Although it's not Monday, it has recently changed, and I want to acknowledge the people who have been actively engaged over the past week. We have here first pictures, Violet Val, Info Singer, Fred Morris, and Aquacat. Thank you all of you guys so much for helping the channel in many ways that you've done. I've seen all of you guys active in some capacity on this channel, so thank you. It does not go unnoticed. And if you want to stay in the loop and be notified when I do post and upload, just go into the comments or the description, follow my Blue Sky account and my Facebook group to stay in the loop and be notified when I do post and upload next. And if you want something a little bit different than politics, go into the comment section or the description and follow my cooking channel if that's something that interests you. Anyway, let's go ahead, let's begin. I hate long intros, so do you. Anyway. So let's take a look at Melania Trump's outfit. For some reason, I feel like this room is so dark. I don't know why. Something feels weird. Like, I feel like there's not enough light, and everything's at full max light volume, but I just feel like something's dark. Okay. I didn't even ask the question, the cards already started flipping. Alright, so Spirit Angel, tell me about Melania Trump. Melania Trump, the FLOTUS, or First Lady of the United States, and her exiguous amount of outfits. Tell me about Melania Trump. What do we need to know about that? Why are you telling me to look at her? I don't even know what I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had no idea what we're walking into. Because it just out of the blue, my guys were like, dude, Melania Trump. And I was like, okay, maybe I will. So I have literally no idea why we're doing this. We're about to find out together. Okay, they're telling me to take this out. They're saying that this was unnecessary to put it here because it's out of placement. Where do you want me to put this? Okay, they're telling me to put this under the Ace of Pentacles. There you go. Is this right? Yes. Alright, so I'm clairaudient, guys. So I'm listening to my guys in my right ear as I do this. Alright, so the bottom of the deck here is we have the Two of Swords reversed. This card normally symbolizes to me a decision has been made. Okay. What is that decision? Ooh, Seven of Wands here, resistance. Okay, so she's making a stance. That's what this is. Whatever she's doing, Melania Trump is making a stance. The question is she making a stance for him or for the people? Now, interestingly enough, Melania Trump posted a woman, a female. It was I think her name was Gloria. I could be wrong, but it had to do something with the Greek mythology. And this woman was represented long ago as somebody who was rebelling against a leader, a rogue leader. And this woman was trying to protect the people. She wanted to defend the people at the time. And apparently, she was married to this king or some leader who was heavily taxing the people within that nation. And she turned to her husband and goes, I want you to treat the people better. And the husband goes, not unless you ride naked throughout the city on a white horse. And she went ahead and did that. I'm not saying Melania Trump is doing that exact thing. But the fact that that comes in and she posted about Gloria, that could be a form of resistance. We're going to take a look and see, is Melania Trump resistant to Donald Trump, the things that he's doing? And she can't do it openly, so she's doing it behind the scene more subtly? Or is she actually resisting the American people? Is she doing the exact opposite? And that's what we're going to find out right now in this very second. Is she maybe does not like the American people? Maybe she doesn't like Donald Trump. Maybe she's just trying to speak to people from her own home country. There could be many values and many motives here. We're going to find that out now, but that's what the cards are saying on the bottom. What does the top of the deck say? We have here the Three of Swords. Okay, the Three of Swords means upset. It means betrayal. It means detachment. What I'm getting, I said this before many times in the past. Back in 2020, I did a video where I talked about Melania Trump. If you want to go check out my Melania Trump videos, I'll put them in the link in the description below and at the end of today's video. But in the video, I said that Melania Trump was going to end up divorcing Donald Trump. But in other cases, I said she wouldn't anymore because the more recent one says she wouldn't anymore, particularly because if he dies, she inherits the wealth. But the only way that she divorces him, in the modern sense, with the most recent video, was that if Donald Trump is poor, she will divorce the man because there's nothing left for her to gain. If Donald Trump had the massive amount of debt to wealth ratio, she will not want to be married to him because she'll inherit the debt after he's long gone. So she's gonna play it smart. The question is if she does put forth the what's it called, the divorce papers, then we know that Donald Trump is in big trouble water and it's not publicly known, but we can kind of use Melania Trump as a key indicator. Anyway, besides the point, we have the Three of Swords here, followed by the Knight of Cups, a lack of proposal. So she feels a lack of something. So something proposal. The Knight of Cups reverse is symbolizing to me a proposal that's being brought forward, but it's reversed. Would tell me it was a proposal of the past, or something is breaking in terms of contract. There's an agreement between Donald Trump and Melania Trump that is in agreement. There's a contract here. When that contract breaks, then the heartbreak, the betrayal will begin. So that's interesting. Going into the reading itself, though, into Melania Trump and her reason and her motives and stuff like that, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what those motives are. So the first card that comes in is the Two of Wands here reversed. The Two of Wands means internal. So whatever she's feeling, she's doing it internally, which is an emotion. So she's acting on emotions. We have here the Ace of Wands, power, empowerment. So she's acting on emotion and she's giving that emotion power to thrive on. So the thing that she wears, the thing that she touches, the thing that she does, how she acts, how she perceives herself, is how how she feels on the inside. If she's dressing up black, she feels dark. She feels darkness on the inside. Melania Trump, according to what the cards are saying now, represents herself or carries herself in a way where whatever she feels internally, she wears it on the outside. She doesn't carry it. She wears it on the outside for others to see what she's going through. Followed by the Ace of Pentacles. There are two heirs right here. You see here the heirs. Now this is a card that always symbolizes a proposal for me, always an opportunity, a leadership, something moving forward. This is the Ace of Wands. And it's moving in the past direction. Whereas the Ace of Pentacles is moving in the future direction. Which is the Ace of Pentacles, and it's also in the air, but the hand is in moving in two opposite ways. Now, if you remember, the proposal is more dark color grays, whereas the Ace of Pentacles is light color grays in terms of the cloud. And this is significant in itself because when you talk about Melania and her personality and her motives and her outfits, the Ace of Pentacles means opportunity, something that's coming in the future when it comes to monetary gain. So she's also doing it for publicity. I don't know if she's working with fashion dealers or people who do fashion, but however it is, she has a contract with them as well. So she's making a contract, she's doing publicity, she's wearing these outfits, these outrageous outfits, not only for herself and how she prepares to make herself feel publicly and expressing those internal emotions outwardly because she can't communicate that, so she's gonna communicate that through her outfit. But the Ace of Pentacles also is indicating that she's also considered a sponsor, which means that she is wearing outfits according to who sponsors her, which means that she's bought and paid by whoever decides to get her an outfit. We have as well as we have the 10 wands here. The 10 of wands means struggle, pushing forward. I do feel like any sort of goal, any sort of ambition, she can't move past certain things. Like there's something here that is withholding her. And with her being a sponsor and like being in the back pocket of people who pay her and give her all these gifts and all these things, she cannot be free. So she's imprisoned in some way, whether she's not behind bars, but she's imprisoned within her mental self. She's imprisoned within her free choice of will. So Melania Trump, according to this, doesn't have free choice of will. The only choice that she has is a selection of clothing. It seems to be very on par here. It seems to be that her freedom of choice is only through clothing, which would explain and exacerbate the connection between the two. When we start to come to the Empress card is reversed, which means female empowerment, being in tune with Mother Nature. This is reversed. It's number 3. It's reversed because she's not in attunement. She's not in Mother Nature's graces. She's not in feminine empowerment. She's the opposite of that. She's submissive in this terminology, which means that she is not dominant. She is the one to go with the lead. Whatever she's told, she follows. Whether she likes it or not, she follows it because she has a lot riding on it, right? We have here her emotion, her inability to speak outward openly, but she only speaks openly through her clothing. She represents her emotions on the outside rather than on the inside, right? And here you follow by with the Death card. And the Death card means rebirth and ending. Now, the fact that this is on the end and the way that the cards are set up is simply symbolized to me that eventually when Donaldson passes through the Death card, she could be reborn. She could be changed, right? And I'm hearing the word Wicked. The movie Wicked, the one that's coming out like next Thursday on the 20th or 19th, I don't remember. But Wicked, it says Wicked for good. And for her, the Death card basically means that she will get reborn. And she could become good. But right now she's under this submissive behavior, the submissive energy where she cannot communicate what she wants, what she desires, what goals she has, what kind of ambition she wants to see. I do think that she wants something, but she just can't do it. Something is restricting her, and I think that restriction comes to whoever gives her gifts, whoever gives her proposal. The materialistic aspect is what also is acting as an obstacle to her progression. It's acting as an obstacle to her having the fulfillment of all things in life, which means that although that she had material wealth, checked off as one of her key notes here. I don't see her being wealthy in happiness, wealthy in love. So she does lack different areas of expertise. So richness can only be formulated from those who deem to be rich or define richness in those areas. But really, in reality, richness comes from having a little bit of everything. That's how you know you're really rich. You don't need to actually have money to be considered rich. Rich in emotional intention, and rich in, you know, intelligent, rich in the ability to create, to use your hand, the richness and ability to speak fluently, right? She doesn't have that capability because she is lacking something. She's compensating that with the materialistic aspect. But as long as she is with Donald Trump, she will remain under that militaristic mindset, receiving gifts and getting money and sponsorship and wearing all these clothes. Eventually, she's going to lead that. The question is how long after Donald Trump's death will it take? Will it even take her death? And that could also be symbolized here. She might not even learn, but she has an opportunity. Her opportunity will be to abandon that lifestyle after Donald Trump's death. Now, going back into the reading, though, we have the star card, which means the presidency. We know where she is and how she feels about the presidency. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. She already said many times she didn't want Donald Trump to run again, did not want him to be president again, but yet here she is still with him. The star card here is indicating she's still with him. Because remember, we have here she has internal conflict. Her emotion is being represented on the outside, but she cannot speak those emotions. So she is a form of resistance within that. Followed by the Ace of Wands, which means a proposal of the past, something being given, a contract, if you will. This is the Star card. The Star card is that opportunity of progression to reach the highest form, right? To reach the best version, if you will. And I'm not saying that she is at her best self. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying in terms of her best version, in terms of highest powerhood. So, for example, becoming first lady, that is top of the line. Like a lot of women in America don't have the opportunity to become first lady, especially twice. And here you have it, the Ace of Wands and Ace of Pentacles, and you followed by the Queen of Cups. The first just means not able to contain a lid on something, to have something that is uncontrollable, unwatched. So the Ace of Wands is a proposal or a contract made with sponsorship or a contract made with gifts and showerment. It's saying that this is uncontrollable. This is something that she needs to learn internally to control, to hamper down on. Because one of her downfalls is going to be taking on so many things that she's going to start contradicting herself a little bit. That's what the Ace of Cups is saying here, that she's unwatched and she's open to everything that comes her way. But also, that could be very bad because she eventually could end up making bad choices because she's not in free choice of will here. That's why the Queen of Cups is here, because if she get taken and taken and taken and taken, but a lot of what's happening within her is being expected outward, to have certain action, to have certain representation be put upon her. Underneath the Ace of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands here, you have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune means moving forward. Something is moving forward, and that is going to be coming a period of hardship for her. So a period of hardship in terms of trying to represent what it is that these people who made a contract or gave her gifts or made deals with her, she's having a very hard time trying to accept that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe her values are very different than Donald Trump, but she cannot say that. So she dresses that way. But the Ten of Wands here and the Wheel of Fortune card reverse, indicating something in the future in terms of struggle in the future about her conflicting views. And underneath the Empress card, which is the symbolization of somebody who's not in power, somebody who's submissive, somebody who is not in female empowerment, who's not in alignment with Mother Nature, right? The natural order. She's not in alignment with the natural order, which means she's in a period of disharmony. And here you have is represented by the King of Swords reversed, which is also indicating, if you guys been with me for a while, you will know that this means somebody who's been defeated, somebody who is removed from power, somebody who's gone from power. somebody who is not in control of themselves, somebody who doesn't make free choice of will. This is what this card represents, and ironically, they're both chairs and they're both reversed. They're both sitting down. What tells us already in this hindsight that the Emperor's card and the King of Swords is simply saying that she's out of power. We said that she doesn't even have any power to begin with, but her power is within her influence. Her power doesn't derive from the people. It derives from those who give her gifts, who are able to allow her to do the thing that she does. Otherwise, she will quote unquote become irrelevant. But the Queen Empress card here and the King of Swords also tells us a story. It tells us a story that when Donald Trump is no longer president, she will be out of power. Her influence is completely gone. It has been erased, and therefore she will be reborn. Now let's go back. Now let's go back to this entire reading again. Let's look at it from a timestamp point of view. Well, here you have its internal conflict with her emotions about the presidential campaign with Donald Trump in 2024. And this is also talking about when he originally announced in 2022. She's very conflicted about that information. Followed by the Ace of Wands here and the Queen of Cups reversed, pushes around January of 2024. She was very uneasy, but she was being offered an opportunity, a goal, to do whatever she wanted to do, pursue opportunity to get her mind off of it, as long as she stayed with Donald Trump. Followed by the Ace of Pentacles, which starts to hand us the presidency, which means Donald Trump won the presidency, and the transition to the presidency. So this is between November of 2024 all the way to January 2025. This was a transition period for Donald Trump, which is why it's the peak, it's the top middle here. The Ace of Pentacles symbolizes when Donald Trump got inaugurated and when he won the election. After Donald Trump is now president, she enters into this period, this phase, where it is the Ten of Wands here with the Wheel of Fortune reversed, which means hardship, trying to having conflicting views with how you're feeling emotionally than what's going around you outwardly. Right? That's what this is telling us. This is how she feels now. Eventually, she's going to get to a point where Donald Trump is not president. We are not there yet. We are here. This already happened. These three rows already happened. She's here. She has this row left, and then the death. The question is she dying, or is this symbolizing Donald Trump's death? Regardless of what happened, she's here. She will come here, and then the death of Donald Trump will initially happen. So, that's what I'm getting from Melania Trump. Interesting. Interesting layout. Well, let me guys know what you guys think of her outfit. I'm really curious to see what you think and what you think of this reading. I thought it was different. You know, Spirit recommended it. I was like, okay, let's go ahead, let's do it, because why not? And I'm actually, gotta say, I'm actually intrigued by it. Alright, so let's go ahead, let's take a look at that double-headed eagle seal. Oh, look at that. As I'm saying that, we have the devil card. Spirit Angels, tell me about the American seal. The American seal having double-headed eagles. You know, Donald Trump was in a golf course summit years ago, standing in front of a picture of American seal with two-headed eagles. What does that mean? What do you want me to tell my viewers about this? Because I have no idea where we're going with this. Okay, that card just flew out. Okay. So the bottom deck here is we have the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is simply symbolizing something being a proposal being or a contract being put forth, something being emptied. This is the Three of Pentacles, and this is wishful thinking, the Page of Cups. So something is wishful thinking with a contract or an agreement that was nullified. It was not. It was not 100% in full agreement anymore. The top of the deck are the Three of Wands here, which means overseeing success, overseeing the building of something, overseeing the creation, a mandate, followed by the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles reversed, which means position, holding on to power, is just holding on to the government. This is interesting because it symbolizes to us that Donald Trump was out of power by this point. Right? This is the presidential election. He lost the election, the Ten of Cups. Let me just go ahead. Let me just take a quick point here. Let me just see when that occurred so we can better gauge when it happened. Okay, that happened in July 25th, 2019. Just for reference here, you can see that here. July 25th, 2019. That is when it happened. So that makes sense. Donald Trump ended up losing the presidential election the year after, so that makes sense in the cards. All right, so we have the Page of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles means a loss of opportunity, a loss of proposal. Something is not what it seems. Crossed by the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is pushback, resistance, but it's resistance that failed because the card that followed in the Stun card is the patriarch, the martyr. That image, based on what I've gotten personally, it was already setting the stage. It was indicating, it was putting subliminal messages into the public that Donald Trump believes that he is going to be God. That's what the cards are saying. The cards are saying that Donald Trump believes he's going to be God, but he needs to create a situation that will allow others to believe the same. In order to do that, he needs to plan his own assassination. So that Two of Heads was actually symbolizing and telling you in the subliminal messaging that Donald Trump is actually planning to stage his own death, but he will be the hero in that death. He will be the one to survive that death. That's what I'm getting. I'm talking about July 2024. But this was again shown in July 25th, 2019. Actually, hold on. I want to see when was Donald Trump shot. I'm just curious. Because that's July 25th, 2019. July 25th, 2024. Let's see what was going on that day. Okay, so on July 25th, 2024, that same day, President Biden announced he would not run for re-election in Oval Office, addressed supporting Kamala Harris to become the de facto Democratic nominee. That's interesting. Let me just put Trump next to it. Let's just see. I'm just looking right now. I want to see, when was Trump shot? When was Trump shot? So Trump was shot in July 13, 2024. Okay, that's interesting. We know that. We are aware that. Um. Okay. All right. Interesting. No, I just thought there might have been a significance, but there wasn't. The only significance that I found was the correlation between that date with a double-headed ego with Biden dropping out of the race and Harris becoming a de facto nominee, but nothing related to Donald Trump besides the one thing that he was doing a campaign rally telling Netanyahu of Israel to end the war in Gaza. But that's besides the point. I don't think this is relevant. We have the Stun card. The Stun card is telling me here that the godlike apparatus to be renewed. Oh, look at me, I'm your god. Right, and I know I told you the meaning of the seal, but this is coming through as it was telling you in a subliminal messaging that Donald Trump truly believed in his own messed up mental way that he believed that he is God and he should be worshipped. This is the Stun card. It's followed by a justice card in reverse, which means something is incorrect. Something is out of order. And what is out of order? The structure of government. The justice card in reverse is the structure, the form of government. It's the check and balance. A double-headed eagle doesn't allow for a check and balance system. The justice card is reversed for that exact reason. It's also being challenged with the Page of Pentacles reverse, which is the loss of opportunity, followed by the Seven of Wands here, which is facing the resistance in the past, followed by the Two of stories in the future, which indicated a decision that needs to be made, which means that this was a decision, which means that although this was a subliminal messaging on Donald Trump's part, it wasn't 100% set in stone. It was an idea. It wasn't something that was set. It was something that was in the plan. It was premeditated, the word I would use. Premeditated. But it would take very decisive a plan in order to pursue that. Underneath the star card, but more closer to the justice card, which is the check and balance system, you have the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands card is very interesting because the Nine of Wands card means somebody who's injured, somebody who isn't in the right head, but somebody who wanted to appear in a very specific way. Now, it's ironic that where the guy is facing, where his bandage is similar to close enough to his ear, followed by a decision that needs to be made, which means that a decision will have to be made in the future. And this is the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is symbolizing possibly an election cycle where it forces the American people to think twice about who they're going to elect to be the next president. This will be an effort. This was an avenue. This was telling us essentially the double-headed ego was telling us that there's more to the story than what meets the eye. There's more to the story than what meets the eye. Spirit Angel Tommy, is there anything else that you would like to add? Oops. Is there anything else that you would like to add in regard to the two-headed eagle of the American seal with Donald Trump in July 25th, 2019? Okay, so this card comes out again. Aquarius card reverse. Okay, there's too many cards. Do it again. Okay. Alright. American seal, Donald Trump, double-headed. Alright. The bottom deck here is the Seven of Swords. Ironically enough, it is Harris. And this is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords means the campaign is upside down. It's supposed to thwart the campaign. This is the Queen of Cups. It's the female. It's to prevent her from speaking. Because a woman can threaten a man's power. His ability to say that he's God. So by creating this facade, creating this two-ego system, which means this was premeditated, which means that they were already aware at a subatomical level, Donald Trump was already aware that Harris was going to become the next vice president of the United States. So somehow, for some reason, Donald Trump was already aware of this. Now, for reference, this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes only. But for some reason, I'm getting indications here that Donald Trump already knew who the next president and the vice president was going to be well before anybody else in the United States did. And here you have it, the Five of Swords here. It was setting up the stage for a coup. What essentially means that Donald Trump put Harris and Biden in the White House on purpose. Now, it makes a lot of sense, and here's why I say it makes a lot of sense, because as I'm thinking back, and I'm going back to all the videos that I did in the past, I did a video a long, long time ago where I talked about how the big lie, Donald Trump saying this big lie, the biggest lie of them all wasn't the big lie. The big lie was the truth that Donald Trump did not want to be president. Now, the big lie was Donald Trump was setting up Biden, and Biden took the bait, but essentially set Biden up to be automatically failure. Donald Trump did not plan and did not want to become president in 2020. And here's why. Donald Trump's tax returns and his tax cuts and all those things were set to start taking effect towards the end of his term, setting the stage for massive increases in prices, massive tax raises, and high inflation. That was all going to occur under the next president. Donald Trump did not intend to become the next president. He set the next president up for failure to accentuate and to plan his coup to take back the White House by essentially positioning the candidates in a very specific way as failure. Biden had a communication issue in terms of communicating with the American people about the thing that he was doing. He was allowing some formation, the misinformation train, to go out of control. Now, it's not his fault, because remember, Biden is just Biden. Biden grew up in a time where technology wasn't like this. And the fact is that Biden wasn't at fault here, and here's why. The Biden took the oath of office at a time when things were a little bit calmer in terms of technology and information. Things were manually handcrafted. Now things are manually towards the end of his term was crafted by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence was manufacturing this misinformation at such a rapid pace. You cannot blame the Biden administration for not catching on, to not be able to hold them accountable, to not be able to handle the situation. Because remember, it's relatively new to his presidency and happened towards the end of it rather than the beginning of it. Donald Trump, however, positioned the nation in a very peculiar way. If you may remember back in 2020, Donald Trump said, I wanted to contest Georgia. Georgia has 16 electoral votes. He wanted to contest Pennsylvania, which only had 20 electoral votes. He wanted to contest, well, actually had 19 electoral votes. He wanted to contest that. He wanted to contest Wisconsin and Arizona. But then he gave up on Pennsylvania. And you think about all the numbers here, it only comes up to 269. Regardless, even if he won all those states, right, and they flipped some magically number, it puts him at 269. Let me just do the math here. 232. Let's do the math here. So he contested Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona the most. Just hypothetically, to take those three states, right? So 232 plus 16, which is Georgia, is 248. Then we're going to add in Arizona, which is 11, which is 259, plus Wisconsin, which is 10. That puts him at 269. Although Donald Trump contested Pennsylvania, he didn't really go hard at it the way he went with Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona. He puts him at 269. You want to know what happened with 269 tie between Joe Biden and Donald Trump? It throws the election to the House of Representatives. Who controlled the House of Representatives at the time? The Democratic Party. They controlled the House of Representatives, the 222 House seats, the 213 Republican seats. And I remember this very, very familiarly. But it will get thrown to the House. And he will say the Democrats are rigging the election and the whole Jews, the whole debacle to frame the country in a very particular way. We wouldn't have known who the president was until the House voted or was sworn in on January of that year, of next year, which would have been January 3rd of 2021. We wouldn't have known who the president of the United States would have been had it been a 269 tie. And then we wouldn't have known who the vice president would have been up until January 17th. Well, January 7th, when John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock were sworn in as the next Georgia senators, giving the Democrats the majority in the Senate, which means that Harris and Joe Biden would have been elected president of the United States since they had both the majorities and formed the government. The thing is that Donald Trump set the stage up in a very specific way, and I did something interesting with my friend the other day. I was looking at the data. I was said, okay, so what happened if you take all Donald Trump's total from 2024 and you compare that to the total of, how Biden performed back in 2020, and you take Biden's performance with 81 million voters, and you put that up against Donald Trump's 77 million voters, what would that map look like? I have the map for you right now. It was probably one of the most shocking maps I've ever seen, that people were like, oh, well, the Biden administration, the people who voted for Biden never came out and voted for Harris. It wouldn't have made it different, and here's why. I'll take the data now. Remember, we know Donald Trump rigged the election, etc., etc., etc. We know that. But although we don't have the actual data for that, we do have this data, which is the data that they consider to be legitimate, which is fine. I'm not going to contest that, but I'm just showing you my results here. So in this scenario, when you take Biden's turnout with 81 million voters for Harris, and you put that in 2024, for example, and you take Donald Trump's turnout in 2024, and you combine them, this will be the map. So let me just make that not as bright. This would be the map. It would be the exact same. What's the ironies? What is the ironies? That is the exact same map. Regardless if 81 million Biden voters came out and voted from 2020 into 2024. it still would have gave us the same result. Biden, I mean, Kamala would have lost. Trump still would have been elected president. What's the odds of that, right? And then, not to mention, when we look at the popular vote, Harris would have gotten 50.3% of the popular vote to Donald Trump 47.84% of the popular vote, with 3 million voting for third party, which is 1.86% of the vote. Harris won the popular vote in this scenario by 2.46%. Just hypothetically here, and hypothetically speaking. So I want you to ask yourself now, did Donald Trump try to maneuver the election in 2020 to frame Joe Biden and Harris? To maybe say that maybe they rigged the election, maybe they were testing the result, maybe they were doing something. Just just put that out there. I'm not saying Biden and Harris were in on it because the cards never said they were. But if you wanted to scream fraud and you wanted to blame somebody to say that they committed fraud or whatever, you give them an astronomical amount of people. Just just think about that for a second. You possibly rig the election to the point where people start to say, "Hey, listen, the result isn't adding up." And then what's the scenario that more people who voted in 2020 just didn't translate to a different electoral college map, right? Very interesting. But anyway, going back into the reading now, with Donald Trump and the two-headed eagle, you have the page of Pentacles reversed, and you have the seven of wands here. It's the resistance, right? Followed by the two of swords in the future, which means the decision needs to be made. And this was the Aquarius card, which means against the people. Now, Aquarius represent the people, they represent the collective, they represent coming together in unity. Here you have Lotus, right? Lotus represents the POTUS, which is the President of the United States. And to also couple this narrative here, you have the Six of Cups, which represents, Barack Obama representing the president and the Republican, which represents a Republican president who isn't for the people. The decision needed to be made about whether or not he was going to represent the people. He already made the decision that no, he's not going to represent the people. This is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Followed by the Sun card, which means that he needed to be a godlike apparatus and he needed to create a plan to be able to do that. And by doing that, it's creating anarchy, by creating issues and problems. And here you have it, the predator becomes the prey, right? The magician creating that scenario, manifesting that, making it, crafting that scenario so that people believe that you are a god, but creating a certain scenario where people believe that, oh my god, look, it's a sign from the universe, it's a sign, but it's just something that wasn't a sign, it was something that was manufactured. It's similar to like Project Bluebeam. And the Justice card in reverse is simply symbolizing the power structure of the government, the judicial branches, and the check and balance on government. Here is the Air card. The Air card which means the corruption of it. It represents the pollution, the inability and ineffectiveness to govern, to function as intended. Something like a smoke screen, if you will. And here you have it, the Scorpio again with the rat. To strike that, the lily. When you start to look at, what happened with the plan and the bandage on the ear, which is represented by the Nine of Wands here, followed by a decision that needed to be made, right? It was kind of wonky. They need to make people question whether or not they wanted to vote for a certain individual or a certain person, and here's the Ace of Swords. They give them that illusionment that if you voted for this side, you'll get this. Or you voted for this side. Hold on. You voted for that side, you'll get this face. The question is, what fate do you want? It's supposed to divide people between a line, to make people think that they're having a clear choice of interest. But really, the optics were to prevent people from having that free choice of will by making a decision for them, by creating the perfect scenario where the American people think that there's an easy solution. When, just say, for example, let's do it this way. Let's do gaslighting. Gaslighting is essentially a way that you will manipulate somebody into making a decision that you want them to make without having to actually make them make the decision. So, for example, magicians do this. So even gaslighters, even cheaters and people who are abusers, they do this all the time. So how is it done? Well, this is how it's done. You take two of the most hardest choices or most impossible choices, and you put them up against one easy choice. For example, if I want to give you this free choice of will to choose something, I'm going to make you do a couple things. So let's, for example, I want you to run over a cat. And they're very bizarre, but run over, run over a little kitten. Okay, the other one is to throw up. The other one is eat a steak. What one would you do? Would you eat a steak? Would you eat somebody's throw up? Or would you run over a kitten? These two sound disgusting. Eating a steak, unless you're a vegetarian, you'll probably go with this. So the question is did I give you that free choice of will, or do I make the decision for you by giving you two impossible scenarios, the hardest choices to make you not want to choose them? I gave you one desirable choice, the one that I want you to pick. So, what are you going to choose? You're probably going to go with the steak. So again, I asked you, did you have free choice of will? No. So what did Donald Trump do? He used the psychosis of the human psychology to basically fool the American voter into believing that there was a clear choice of interest. By providing them with a flood note of many candidates, such as Joe Stein from the Green Party, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the Independent Party, Colonel West from whatever party he was from, Chase Oliver from the Libertarian Party. He gave many options, but by doing so, it created this free choice of will. This illusionment, and then coupled with an assassination attempt, created the perfect environment for Donald Trump to be elected president. So the two ego behind was more symbolic. It foreshadowed the assassination attempt, was with the assassination attempt that foreshadowed him becoming elected president by creating the perfect condition by using human psychosis to make them feel like as if they're making a free choice of will, but in reality, the choice had already been pre-made for them. Coupled with the note that Donald Trump set up Biden and Harris back in 2020 by creating the perfect condition, the perfect firestorm, so that the presidency wouldn't go as well as planned, especially among the general populace. By creating the perfect condition and to make sure that Donald Trump could state a big lie and to say all these things, but know in his heart that he did not actually want to be president. But by doing so, he was able to ensure that he would make the presidency appear and seem illegitimate, which makes it more harder for people to take it seriously. Now a lot of people have taken the Biden administration seriously, and Joe Biden and Harris had won fair and square, absolutely. But was there a little bit of finagling? Most likely, it could be. But it wouldn't be impossible if it was. But again, it goes back to the same story. The same story where this was a period of planning. Biden's presidency was a period of planning. Biden's a professional. He's clean cut. But sometimes when you're playing with a crime family, sometimes getting dirty might be what you need. Sometimes we need to get somebody who's dirty in order to be able to clean out. Hopefully we'll get to that point. But as of now, this is what I'm getting. Is there anything else, Spirit? Nope. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, peace out. I love you. I know this is different, but why not? This is what Spirit recommended. Let's wing it. Anyway, guys, thank you. I love you truly. Have a great night. I love you.